Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. We've got a video clip of Tayshia calling out Colton Underwood for lying about their fantasy suite wardrobe. I can't make this up. This is the strangest story that has no end in sight. It's the human centipede of Bachelor Nation drama. We had Nick Viall calling out Colton Underwood, Ben Higgins calling out Colton Underwood, and now we've got Tayshia Adams calling out Colton Underwood. We'll get into all of it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and like this video. And of course, at noon today, we have a private live stream on patreon.com/Dave Neal. We'll get into it all. I have to apologize. I made a video sharing all of Clayton Eckhard's new contestants, and the audio was messed up. About 500 or 600 of you guys watched that. The audio is no good. I play a lot of club music, and I give my pageant voice, and I do the whole thing. I got to reshoot that. It's going to take me so much time. It's so sad. More than the loss of it, but stay tuned. That'll be the next video that comes out. And of course, the subscriber race that nobody asked for, but I'm doing anyway. Nick Viall is at 49,300 subscribers, and I'm at 48,900. That's right. He gained another 100. I gained 200. We're back and forth. I'm going to pass him in the next 2 days with your help. Let's get there by tomorrow on Friday. 400 subscribers away. I'll at least get there by Sunday. That's for sure. All right. So, like I said, Nick read the text that called out Colton. Congrats, bud. Hope you're in a happier place. Colton said, no one's reached out to me. Now, a lot of people have sided with Colton, saying, well, what he meant was no one really reached out to me. It's 2021. You don't just send a text message. But in some cases, that's what you do. Believe it or not, guys, I get messages from people saying, I want you to talk to Katie and Blake to try to get them therapy so they'll get back together. And it's like, don't you understand that you don't cross the boundaries of certain relationships? No one, maybe Nick doesn't even really know Colton. Why would he send him anything more than a nice congratulations, bud? You know what I mean? Ben Higgins sends Colton Underwood a book about coming out as a Christian. These are nice gestures. So Colton Underwood might have said no one's really FaceTimed me, but it doesn't mean these guys didn't reach out. You know what I mean? So anyway, Colton said a lot of things about Tayshia in his memoir, which he wrote while he was still in the closet. He should return. I bought the dang book. Can I get my $27 back? You know what I mean? Colton said about he didn't sleep all night in his overnight date with Tayshia Adams, claiming he laid down next to her in my sweatpants in a long sleeve shirt. So that's what he said in his book, and he said it on the Call Her Daddy podcast, and he said it in different on the documentary and all these different things. Well, Tayshia doesn't like that he's lying. Let's see her call him out for the most trivial thing in the world, what he wore to bed in the fantasy suite.
I don't know if it was in his book, which I haven't read, or on his show, which I haven't seen.
Me neither. But
obviously, everyone in
everyone
in Bachelor Nation talks. Like he had said, he went in that night with you, kept his sweatpants shirt on. You guys talked, and that was really it. And he said he felt bad or something, felt
very bad for me.
Yeah. So what was your take? Was that the case, or in your experience did something more happen?
Oh, I think that's extremely rude. I mean, don't make me seem like this pity case. You felt so bad for me. Anyway, I'm not the only person you should be feeling bad for. There was other women that were trying to fall in love with you and really putting their hearts out on the line. So if you feel bad for me in that regard, then sure. But no, Colton Underwood did actually not sleep in sweats and a sweatshirt that night. In case everybody that's wondering,
everyone grab your teacups right now.
This has been said multiple times. It's been said in his book. It's been said on television. It's been said in his show, apparently. He actually slept in boxers that night because it was so hot in Portugal. I remember because the door was wide open and it was raining outside, and it was just we were trying to get air ventilation. It was so hot and sticky. So there's actually no way he would have been in sweats
hot and
a
sticky
sweatshirt.
Why lie about that?
We don't know.
I don't know. And it honestly makes me so sad because it's just at the end of the day, we did have really good conversations, and I thought that we ended on a good page. I don't think there's any, ill will, or there's nothing that happened for us to not even be friends. So for you to make up this elaborate story that you slept on the other side of the bed and you had to sleep with sweats and a sweatshirt on because you didn't want me to think you felt so bad and you didn't want me to think that anything was going to happen. It's just, I don't know what you're trying to cover, and I don't know why you're dragging me down for something that's not, was not something.
We know what he's trying to cover.
Like, it's absolutely not true.
His sexuality.
Yeah. I mean,
I have reason. Why the hell I lie?
Some people really care about that image, you know? Well, okay. So then let me ask you this, going through that and knowing he put you through fantasy suites, you know, you had your sleepover slumber party and then next day he breaks up with you, breaks up with Hannah. You obviously saw how everything else transpired after that. Then when you went into fantasy suites, were you very cognizant of how you wanted to come off to your three men in a way that Colton didn't come off to you and make you think something different?
I think what I learned from my first fantasy suite experience is that you can really ask a lot of questions and really get to know. You could really ask a lot of questions and really get to know the other person and not have anything else happen.
There it is. Ivan, not have anything else happen. He's like, I know a thing or two about sleeping in my sweats. That's because we were in an Airstream and it was freezing. You know what I mean? Who knows? All right. Listen, Tayshia says, by the way, this was highly edited. We saw many clips there. And of course, like they probably wanted to be careful what they said, but you could really feel Tayshia's energy there being really upset. And she has a right to be, because in some ways it's kind of slut-shamey what Colton did there. Does that mean that was his intention? No. His intention, what it seems, is self-preservation. In the moment, he's trying to maintain this big lie, you know, and all that. Colton Underwood says he felt so dirty after overnight date with Tayshia Adams on The Bachelor. I mean, that's what he said. He said he felt dirty, you know? And so Tayshia's like, I'm in a robe. You feel dirty? What are you doing? What am I, some piece of trash that you know what I mean? Like, I can understand Tayshia feeling that way. Absolutely. You know, and there's been a lot of like sort of bickering back and forth. As we know on Bachelor in Paradise, Tayshia and several others mentioned how bad of a kisser Colton was. They were talking about it like at a campfire, and then Tayshia came up and they were like, hey, Tayshia, do you think Colton was, you know? So Tayshia goes, this is awkward, before admitting I was not going to lie when she revealed she agreed with Sydney that Colton was a bad kisser. Caitlin Clemens, Tayshia, and Sydney all said Colton was a horrible kisser, whereas Demi and Cassie were like, come on, he's not bad. You know, I mean, listen, I feel like you can be gay and be a great heterosexual kisser. I don't think like if I ever had to prove my kissing abilities to a member of any sexuality, I feel like I could, you know, really do a service to them. I don't know. What do I know? Sleeping in my sweatpants. I'll tell you that much. So listen, guys. Tayshia goes, why did he drag me down? And I understand, like, why would he do this? But we know the answer. We know the answer. It's because he was trying to say, like, hey, no funny business here. Like, you know, he was awkward. And everything he does is to, like, jockey himself to play the victim. And everyone's wondering about all these lies. If you only see this, if this was the first part of the story you ever heard, you go, what's the big deal? He lied about what he was wearing. Who cares? But then you put them all together and you go, this is strange. As I've mentioned in the past, the only reason Colton came out of the closet, in his words, what he said was because he was at a massage parlor and someone saw that he was gay and threatened to expose him for being gay, maybe because they didn't think he was a good ally to the gay community or whatever. It didn't really add up. As we know, when Colton broke up with Cassie, he quarantined at Cassie's parents' house for having COVID. Did he even have COVID? I imagine he did, but we have to question these things now because he's proving to be, I guess you would call it a pathological liar. Again, I'm not a psychologist. I probably shouldn't be using clinical diagnosis here, but whether he's a pathological liar or just lying to cover his tracks, my thought is he probably doesn't even know he's lying half the time because he's so like blatant with it. Let's read some of your comments. This doesn't have to do with his Tayshia lie, but his lies have been brought up before, like when he claimed he never brought a girl home. But there's actual photos of him bringing Allie Raceman home for Christmas. Also, it's fishy that he is also changing stories, like he claimed he had to come out because he was being blackmailed. There are even articles about it, but somehow that is no longer part of his narrative. It is still part of his narrative, says someone. He said on Call Her Daddy he didn't include that part in the show to not give those people power. I emailed Elizabeth Wagmeister, or I tweeted to her. She's the one who conducted the interview with Colton Underwood. And I said, and I asked, have you vetted your sources as to Colton's story that he was being blackmailed? Blackmailing is a crime. So if Colton says he's been blackmailed, did you vet the sources? I never heard back. Methinks that there was no vetting of those sources. I'm not saying it was sloppy journalism. I think Elizabeth Wagmeister was still one of the best interviews that ever happened. Obviously better than some of the fluff pieces that happened earlier on. He's a misogynist who thinks he's the main character when actually he's just a pathological liar, pathetic weasel, and yes, I said what I said. Colton is so toxic. What do you guys think? Let's hear from you all. Let me know. Again, it's almost funny at this point to be reporting on it. If the Ben Higgins story wasn't enough, if the Nick Viall story wasn't enough, now we have Tayshia sharing her opinion. Will there be others in Bachelor Nation who need to share more about Colton, or is it enough? Is it enough to understand that his problems hiding his sexuality are so far-reaching that it affects all the little things that have surrounded him? And in most scenarios, you don't have timestamps of somebody, but as The Bachelor, which is the star of the biggest dating show in our known universe, there are timestamps and fantasy suites and podcasts and all these different places we can pull from to really show that, wow, this guy stopped at nothing to cover his tracks. And I kind of feel bad for him. I also feel bad for the women that have been caught up in this process as well, but I do feel bad for him. And I think we can have pity for someone and also understand how problematic. I mean, whatever he's trying to sell, as much as I enjoyed his docuseries, I really did. I really felt for him when you saw his pastors abandon him, his Christian friends go, well, let's see what the Bible says about this. Oh, I love the sinner, but I don't like the sin. You know, all these stupid things that are going on. You go, wow, I really feel bad for this guy. I really do. And then you watch this and you go, wow, at every step of the way, he lied to make himself the victim and the star of a show that he might not be the star of. And that's where it stands. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment. We got a Patreon live today at noon, patreon.com/Dave Neal if you want to join. Private membership only community. And also I've got brand new vlogs. Starbucks sugar cookie latte testing. If you want to go check that out on the Dave Neal vlog channel. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye now.